Now we can also add effects to our MIDI tracks the same way that we can add effect to any other kind of track. And in fact, in Reaper, tracks are just tracks. They're not specifically MIDI tracks, they're just tracks. So for that, we'll go to insert virtual instrument on new track, and let's choose a, let's see, let's go to let's go to area player and click on add, and this time I will find a flute under woodwinds. Let's see, flute, alto flute, let's go with alto flute. Okay, so that's what that sounds like. And now what I will do is, let me go ahead and record a little crazy thing. Let's do view, virtual MIDI keyboard. Okay, so I'm going to record like a little crazy kind of little wild little solo. So I'm using the virtual MIDI keyboard, so I'm not even going to bother trying to pick notes in here. So I'm just going to scroll my cursor over here, trying to get a little crazy kind of I don't know, frantic solo. Okay, and so I will do this right over here. I'm going to start recording from the beginning, make sure my track is armed. Let's see, let's call this flute so we don't get confused. Flute, and now I have it armed. It's the only thing that's armed. That's good. And I'm just going to go from the beginning, and then over here I'm going to actually, let me start it from here. I'm going to record a little, I'm just going to start going a little crazy here, and then we'll come back and then an effect. Okay, here it goes. There we go. So that's that. Okay, so that was that solo there. I think I'm actually going to push back a little. See what this sounds like. Okay, that's fine. And I'm also going to go ahead and duplicate it. Well, I don't need to duplicate it, but I can. I can just do a loop. I'm going to extend my loop a little bit, and that's all fine. I can actually duplicate this, and I can even maybe reverse it or something. Reverse item. Right, I can't do it, so never mind. I cannot reverse. Oh no, that didn't work, so never mind. I'm not reversing anything. So I'm just going to duplicate it. Although I do remember reversing MIDI. There is a way to do it, I just don't remember right now. But anyway, so there's our little solo. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some distortion to it. So I'm going to go back to effects. And now, so remember, if virtual instruments are loaded as effects. Essentially, although they're a different thing, they're a virtual MIDI instrument, but as far as Reaper is concerned, you're loading them in the effects rack. And then you're not limited to only adding one. You can add an additional effect, and basically you create what's called an effects chain. So for example, if I want a distortion here, I would add it after the instrument, of course, and then after that I could add delay, I could add whatever I want. And the way that you order these changes kind of how they interact with one another. So I'm just going to go to add, and now I'm going to do fuzz, and that's this option right here, and I'm going to click on that. And all right, so let's see what happens if I just leave it like this. Okay, awesome. And now I'm just going to take it to the right instead, and I'm also going to reduce the drive. Yeah, so if you do it in stereo, you get none of the original sound. At least I don't hear any of it. I would like to reduce the volume a little bit. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. the point is you can add an unlimited amount of effects after a MIDI instrument. So within the MIDI track, you're not limited to just adding the instrument and nothing else. You can go in there, add an effect. You can also, of course, do it a different way. So for example, if I go here and take this and cut it, I now no longer have an effect here. So this is just plain flute. But what I could do is I could add, let me do this a little bit. I could add an additional track over here and put it maybe right underneath, and I could call it Fuzz. And I can now send sound from the flute to this track, which right now doesn't have anything in it, right? So the sound is coming through here, and now I can do what I did before in previous videos, where I can have a clean version of it. So I just say flute fuzz, and I can say here flute clean. And now let's color these a little bit so we get some sort of a visual. Wrong button. And actually, maybe we'll do these two one single color. Okay. And we'll make this a little bit bigger. And then now over here, I've already routed the sound to go to it. So this is already receiving from the flute. And what I can do now is I can add my fuzz. I'm actually going to do this, which is I'm going to paste the effect that I cut from here. If you remember, I had gone in here where it says flute fuzz. I'm sorry, not here. I was here where it says flute, and I had the aria player as well as the fuzz effect, and I cut it. I just selected it and did Command X in my case. And now I actually went into flute fuzz and I pasted it in here. So you can copy and paste effects like that. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to again send sound from the flute to flute clean. And then I will do what we've done before, which is to remove it from the master send, so that now I have the distorted sound coming out of here and the clean sound coming out of here, which it's kind of nice because now I can decide, let me turn it off. I can decide how much clean I want, and because the plugin itself doesn't seem to have a very clear way of adding, kind of balancing the clean and the wet. So this way we can have a better control over that. So now I can reduce the amount of clean flute. So you hear very little of it, but I can add a lot more. And you can of course do things like add automation. So let's say it starts as being clean flute, and then over time it becomes distorted flute, for example. And that would be pretty easy to do by just doing the volume, and then you do it over here. You add volume for that, and you basically have kind of opposite things. So let's say I want it to be no distortion at first, and then it becomes distorted after, and then I have a lot of clean at first, and then eventually it disappears, the clean, so that basically this effectively makes it clean clean at first, and you hear a little bit more distortion creeping in. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. I like it more distorted, to be honest with you, because, but it kind of makes up for the kind of messiness of the pitches. Okay, good. So that's adding effects to your MIDI.